Joshua was going to connect with a bomb.
Yeah.
And breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah. And
his jaw's wired shut now. He lost teeth.
He probably cooked. He should retire, man. That was a clear
retire?
Check. Hell yeah. That was a clear reality check, bro.
Yeah, but it's a reality check to stay in your own division or...
He was literally running. Look at some of those rounds. He was running. He was going north to south, not side to side. He was...
In the aftermath of what many are already calling one of the most brutal reality check moments in modern crossover boxing, the narrative exploded across combat sports media when Joe Rogan reportedly reacted with visible shock and deep concern following Jake Paul's devastating knockout loss to Anthony Joshua, a loss so violent, so definitive, and so psychologically crushing that it reignited the long-simmering debate about whether Jake Paul's experiment in elite boxing had finally reached its
imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career.
Yeah.
It's you could only take so much. And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, ooh, you know, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a certain number. That one was like 10 bunches.
Yeah.
That was like, it was a lot of concussions in that one punch.
Sure.
That was real damage. Like if someone's breaking your jaw in 2 places, the inside of your fucking head is...
unavoidable end, because from the opening bell Joshua looked like a man on a mission to erase doubt, erase disrespect, and erase the idea that YouTube fame could coexist with heavyweight supremacy, and as the rounds unfolded it became painfully clear that the gap between influencer ambition and world-class power was not just wide, it was dangerous, with Joshua's jab snapping Paul's head back repeatedly, his footwork cutting off the ring with surgical precision, and his composure standing in
number of punches he threw, and also aim a little lower to land that clean right-hand punch on the side of Jake's face, which fractured his lower jaw, still hospitalizing Jake Paul, but not actually killing him.
If Anthony Joshua won, Anthony killed this guy. Rolls-Royce, Fiat.
The variety of emotions we see in the final moments of the fight are fascinating. AJ finally corners Jake, hits him with a quick left-hand jab to the body, which lowers his guard, opening up a clean right-hand shot to the head. You can see AJ smile there when he sees Jake had fallen into his trap and knows that he's about to finish him off.
And then you just keep exploiting. Some people give up. Some people get knocked out.
Jake's body language and facial expressions when he knows it's all over for him is a little sad as he whimpers in the corner with that scared, nauseous look on his face, realizing this may be his final moment on Earth.
If I get hit with that shot, I'm screwed. I don't believe he's gonna hit me with those shots.
You gonna hit him with that?
100%. And land that right hand that he says is my only weapon.
If you look at Jake's eyes and face, he's pleading for mercy to AJ as if he's a child. Please don't do this.
Some people get knocked out.
It's actually quite surreal that the moment many of us were concerned what happened to Jake actually happened in real life.
If Jake Paul is left, you know, up against the ropes with Anthony Joshua, unloading on him, could be the end for him, literally. It could be his last day on Earth.
Jake Paul was helplessly exhausted, badly beaten, and cornered where AJ could have unloaded a flurry of clean punches on Jake. When he takes that clean right shot from AJ, breaking his jaw in 2 places and then falls to the ground.
And his chin served on a platter, and look at Jake Paul's face. He knew it right away. He said, woo!
Some wondered why Jake had that emotion of excitement. Do you know why? When he was cornered by AJ, Jake...
Stark contrast to Paul's increasingly frantic movement, and when the knockout finally came, a thunderous right hand followed by a crushing combination that sent Paul collapsing to the canvas in a way that silenced even his most loyal supporters. The visual alone told a story that no hype machine could spin, because this wasn't a flash knockdown or a controversial stoppage, it was a complete shutdown. The kind that changes careers and forces uncomfortable conversations, and that's exactly where.
He should retire, man. That was a clear
retire?
Check. Hell yeah, that was a clear reality check, bro.
Yeah, but it's a reality check to stay in your own division or, you know, don't jump in class so far up. Not retirement. He ain't get slept. Like, you don't give him no respect for that?
Hell no. Gang.
What?
I'm saying look at his list. It's all high-level boxer. And you seen what just happened when he stepped up to a legit boxer? He got cooked. He got to retire, man. He either got to retire or start fucking with these misfits boxer dudes. He ain't gonna make it with that kind of skill level, man.
Netflix ain't gonna take a misfits
Joe Rogan's reaction entered the public consciousness, because Rogan, a man known for celebrating combat sports brutality when it's earned and necessary, reportedly shifted tone entirely, speaking not as a hype man or analyst but as someone deeply worried about long-term damage, openly questioning the wisdom of Jake Paul continuing to face elite heavyweights when the physical consequences were no longer theoretical but painfully real, and according to those close to the discussion, Rogan.
You're a taller person, so keep taking the knee. First of all, your knee, you can get ligament damage. Remember when Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was losing every round to Sergio Martinez, and then Martinez fell to the ground kind of weird? He messed up his knee. He was never the same fighter. So you got a broken jaw, but you could have tore ligaments in your knee by having a 260-pound man, fall on top of you, because you keep making it sloppy and falling around and spilling about. And even if you don't like rupture something or tear a ligament or whatever, it's not really much better than someone leaning on you. Do you know how much energy you exert by having to be like 220 pounds or whatever, 216, and keep picking yourself back up? Like, I seen the thing, I didn't count myself, but it said there were 12 or 13, maybe 14 times that Jake Paul was on the canvas. Horrible strategy. And Netflix, I don't even see how they would like that. And for me, this generation they're chopped, bro. Jake Paul did all this, and y'all want me to give a bunch of credit. Jake Paul did all this talking about Joshua getting knocked out. You did whatever to sell the fight, but you didn't make good. That doesn't make you look good when you talk crazy and talk spicy, and then you have no intentions of fulfilling that. And then you got the Jake Paul fans and the Andrew Tate fans, because they lost kind of back to back, where they're trying their hardest to turn this into some inspirational story. Like, oh, as long as you try, it doesn't matter. No, Andrew Tate said, what do you
emphasize that this wasn't about embarrassment or losing a fight, it was about neurological health, cumulative trauma, and the irreversible price fighters pay when they stay in too long or step in too deep, especially against men like Anthony Joshua, who possess not only knockout power but elite-level timing, experience, and killer instinct. And Rogan's plea, which many interpreted as him practically begging Jake Paul to walk away, struck such a nerve because it came from someone who has.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to
defended fighters' right to test themselves while simultaneously being one of the loudest voices warning about brain damage, concussions, and the hidden aftermath of violent knockouts. And the moment resonated even more because Jake Paul's entire boxing journey has been framed as a rebellion against gatekeepers, a challenge to traditional pathways, and a bold statement that fame and work ethic could accelerate success. But Joshua's knockout shattered that illusion in one emphatic sequence.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, I know
he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
Is that how you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp.
Reducing months of trash talk, promotional bravado, and social media confidence into a single frozen image of vulnerability on the canvas, and as replays circulated, Rogan reportedly pointed out the way Paul's body went limp, the delayed response, the vacant stare before the referee waved it off, all classic signs that made veteran fight observers uncomfortable rather than entertained. And that discomfort spread fast, because fans who once tuned in for spectacle suddenly found themselves.
What's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took one.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I was trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fuck that shit. I love AJ.
Yeah.
But bro,
I saw you going down
I was talking so much.
Questioning whether they were complicit in watching something that had crossed the line from entertainment into unnecessary risk, and the conversation quickly expanded beyond Jake Paul alone, touching on the broader issue of celebrity boxing and whether athletic commissions, promoters, and broadcasters were pushing matchups too far simply because the money was there, and Rogan's stance added credibility to that critique. Because when someone who has built a career around combat sports excitement says, enough, people listen, and what made the situation even more dramatic was the
lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or 2 or even 3. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's gonna fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, what do you think? She goes, Jake's gonna win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money, but we want to put on the
contrast between Joshua's post-fight demeanor, calm, respectful, almost clinical, and Paul's shattered aura, because Joshua didn't gloat or exaggerate, he simply stated that boxing is real, power is real, and consequences are real, a message that echoed Rogan's concern almost word for word, and as clips of Rogan's reaction spread, fans dissected every sentence, every pause, interpreting his tone as not just advice but a warning, because Rogan has seen too many fighters ignore those warnings and
First 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, you know, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
Did you describe Jake as after a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average. Now I think he's decent, and the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So yeah, and look, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. But we're friends now, so respect to him.
And your message for
Fury, listen.
Pay for it years later with slurred speech, memory loss, and emotional instability, and whether or not Jake Paul publicly acknowledges Rogan's plea, the impact is already evident in how the narrative has shifted, because this is no longer about whether Jake Paul can sell pay-per-views or troll champions on social media, it's about whether continuing down this path is worth the cost. And that question looms heavier when you consider that Joshua is not even the most dangerous heavyweight out.
There's a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, cannot...
There, meaning the ceiling of risk only rises from here, and Rogan reportedly stressed that Jake Paul has already won in many ways, financially, culturally, and in proving doubters wrong about his dedication, but that boxing does not reward curiosity forever, it punishes overreach mercilessly, and the knockout loss served as a brutal illustration of that truth, forcing fans to confront the reality that not every story has to end in glory to be successful, sometimes walking away is the bravest.
By Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm gonna try, that's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving, you know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm gonna take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly, listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm gonna let him run around, right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out.
Move, and as debates rage across podcasts, comment sections, and sports shows, one thing is undeniable. Joe Rogan's reaction crystallized a moment where hype met consequence, where spectacle met reality, and where the conversation shifted from what's next to should this continue at all, and whether Jake Paul chooses retirement, a drastic step down in competition, or defiance in the face of criticism. The image of Anthony Joshua's knockout and Joe Rogan's somber plea will linger as a
boxing guys. We go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? It was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience.
The mismatch.
Skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed the first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it not to happen again. To get it out of our system.
Right.
In order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan.
Defining chapter in crossover boxing history, a chapter that may ultimately be remembered not for the punch itself, but for the moment the sport collectively paused and asked whether pushing the limits had finally gone too far.